Okay, so I've jumped over to Unity 5, and what you can see open here in front of me in the editor here is a completely blank, new and empty Unity project and a completely empty scene in front of me. This project is called Hello World, and you can find it in the course companion files. So before getting started, I just want to get some preliminaries out of the way. The first thing I want to mention is that in this course, I'm going to assume that you already know the C# language. So I'm going to assume that perhaps you've read a book or taken a course or you've learnt about C#. I'm going to assume, however, that what you want to know is how you can take your knowledge of C# and apply it in the context of Unity. So I'm not going to assume that you've used C# in Unity before. I'm going to start here by looking at how we can use C# to create Unity programs. If you don't know the C# language and you want to learn more about it, then you can log on to 3dmotive.com and take the Introduction to C# Programming for Unity course. That is designed for people who have never covered C# before. But here I'm going to assume you do know C# and want to get started at using it. And the very first program that a programmer generally wants to create in Unity, and whenever they're learning a new language, is to create the famous Hello World program. And what this program generally does is print the words Hello World to some kind of output. In Unity, we're going to be using the console to do that. So the basic idea is going to be when we press the play button on the toolbar here, Unity is going to print the words Hello World to the console. The console is a window that is provided by Unity. By default, your console should display down here. You can see the tab Console. You can click on that to display the console area. But if you don't have this visible, you can always display the console by moving up here to the File menu and choosing Window and then Console, or you can press Ctrl-Shift-C on the keyboard to automatically display that. So you should have the console available here. Now, in creating a script file in Unity, what we need to do is to create a new script file, which is an asset. It is an asset of the project. So all new programs are created as assets. I'm going to switch back to the project panel here and right click to display the context menu and choose Create, and then choose C# script from the context menu. Notice we also have JavaScript. You do have the option of using the JavaScript language, but in this course, we're going to be using C#. So I'm going to select C# from the menu here, and this will create a new file that you can see in the project panel. Straight away, Unity asks you to name the script file, and this is significant. If I simply click away here, for example, if I click over here, Unity will generate the script file and name it newbehavior.c#. This is the default name for a script file. But if I move my mouse over here and have a look at the object inspector, you can see that it displays the contents of the script file, and Unity automatically generates a new class. But notice here that the name of the class is newBehaviorScript. The name of the newly created class matches the name of the script file here. In general, you want all the objects, all the different script files to be named differently, so that each of them contain a uniquely named class. We don't want duplicate names, and a name such as newBehaviorScript is really not very descriptive about what's going on. So I'm just going to select the script file here in the project panel and press the delete key on the keyboard, and I'm just going to delete that script file and create a completely new one, and this time I'm going to name it something meaningful. So I'm going to right click in the project panel, choose Create, and then choose C# Script. And I'm going to name the script Hello World and press Enter on the keyboard. And now you'll notice in the Object Inspector, when the script file is selected, that this time we have a class that is named Hello World. So this is part of the project. Of course, if I press play on the toolbar, still nothing happens, there's no change, and nothing is printed in the console. That's because this script file hasn't been defined yet. It's simply a completely empty class. So I'm going to double click on the script file, and when I do that, it will display the contents inside the MonoDevelop editor, which is a script editor that comes free with Unity. Now actually, before I double click on this script file to open it inside MonoDevelop, I'm going to move up here to the File menu and choose Edit and Preferences, and this will display the Preferences dialog. And just check under External Tools that for External Script Editor you have MonoDevelop selected. This is the name of the program that will be executed or launched when you double click on script files to open them. You can, if you wish, use other text editors. You can use, for example, Visual Studio or Notepad++, or any other kind of text editor that you want. You don't have to use MonoDevelop if you do not want to, but I'm going to be using MonoDevelop here. So I'm going to close this dialog and double click on the script file. This will display MonoDevelop, so I'm just going to drag that into the window here so that you can see it. And here we have MonoDevelop, so I'm just going to resize this to the recording window. And we can now start typing in our program here. Now, first thing I just want to mention is that you can hold down the Control key on the keyboard and then roll your mouse wheel to grow and shrink the selection or the size of your text if you want to kind of get a better view of that. And you can press Control-0 to put the text back to its default size. So right now I'm just going to increase it a little bit for better viewing, and I'm just going to move this to a new line. So we have this completely new and empty class here. Actually, this class has two functions inside it, and they are start and update. And we're going to be considering these further throughout the course. Right now I'm just going to completely delete the update function. These are automatic events, or events that Unity will call automatically. So we have this start function here, and this is the entry point of our program. Unity is going to run the start function whenever the level begins. So inside here is the place that we want to say hello world. So I'm just going to put an indent using the tab key here, and all I have to do to say hello world is type just one command. I can type debug.log, and inside parentheses I can put the string that I want to display. So I want to display hello world like so. And then to compile this code, all I have to do is choose File and then choose Save, or I can press Ctrl-S on the keyboard and then minimize MonoDevelop. When I do that, Unity will then compile the application, and if you were quick enough, you could spot the icon down here which turns away to say that the program is compiling. That's all very well and good, but if I press play on the toolbar now and I move to the console, you will see that it still doesn't say hello world. And that is because this script file now lives as an asset of the project, but it doesn't live inside this scene. For this program to run, it needs to live inside the scene as an object. You can easily make that happen just by dragging and dropping hello world onto any object. So I'm just going to drag and drop it onto the main camera here. And actually, when I select the main camera object here in the hierarchy panel and I have a look at it in the object inspector, you can see at the bottom here it now has a hello world component, and there is a tick in that box to say that that component is enabled. So now if I switch to the console and I press play on the toolbar, you will see that now it says hello world. And it says it just once, and that's because it happens inside the start function, which happens once at the beginning of the level. So I'm just going to clear that and remove the tick. Of course, I could drag and drop hello world onto the directional light here. So now the directional light has a copy of the hello world component, and the camera also does. And now if I press play on the toolbar and I switch to the console, you can see that we still get what appears to be one hello world. But notice over here it says that it was printed twice. So hello world, the message, was printed twice. This is shown in this way because this collapse button is enabled. If I take off the collapse button here, you can see that it now just outputs absolutely everything that was printed using debug.log. But if I enable collapse, then all duplicate messages are grouped or collapsed together, and it just tells me here how many times they were printed. So there we are. We've now created a hello world program.